Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about a subject called evil. Now, many of you have heard of this word, and evil by definition can be defined as being malevolent, nefarious, corrupt, inflicting harm on someone. I believe often a lack of compassion and sympathy is associated with this. I see it as a person that commits wrongful acts towards someone without regard for the consequences or repercussions. When I think of people that truly epitomized evil, I believe Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson are really the personification of evil. They committed heinous acts without compassion. Some people think Hitler had such an overwhelming offer for such a powerful position that he simply couldn't resist it. Well, I adamantly disagree. Now, you can make an argument that it was so alluring and so enticing to have such a position of such power, but at the same time, we all have our free will, and nobody, I don't believe, put a gun to Adolf Hitler's head and made him choose that position. He did this on his own volition and his own accord. Now, we look at certain things, and I think some driving forces or things that contribute to evil. It could be, according to Marilyn Vos Savant, she said something to the effect one time that money is not the root of all evil, but it certainly makes a good fertilizer. And I look at a lot of times avarice, greed can figure prominently in this. Somebody never having enough of something. Sometimes having power or having money, people just want to keep getting more. There's some people that might become very affluent very quickly, and enough just isn't enough. And sometimes you'll find these people that will resort to nefarious ways in order to acquire more money. That is one motivation, I think, which can lead to evil. Now, I think what's interesting is that when you look at the word evil, the words you can make from the word evil are interesting. The word vile is one word, just unscramble it. And if you spell evil backwards, it's live. It's almost like, well, you're living the way you're supposed to live if you're not evil or unscrupulous. I think I look at it like that. Now, I think what can another maybe thing that can cause someone to maybe commit crimes and at least do things that are iniquitous, that could be somehow perceived as evil acts. Sometimes it could be attributed to somebody being in an oppressed state or impoverished situation, and they feel, well, I don't have anything, I'm not able to make much money, so that means I'm going to go out and rob and do whatever I can to get money. Sometimes you'll find people that may be mentally insane. It could escalate to a point where they commit heinous acts in certain cases. Now, the people that there's also people, that are going to rob a lot of times their own business, and they rationalize it by saying they're not getting good wages. People often find a way to justify or rationalize what they're doing, and they say, well, this isn't wrong, this is the equalizer, I've been treated wrong, so you know what, I'm going to do something wrong to this person. Well, for some people it might sound good on the surface, but the reality is the ends do not justify the means for this kind of iniquitous behavior. Now, sometimes, as I stated before, with somebody that may be psychopathic or emotionally disturbed, sometimes this could escalate into a form maybe of evil if it's not controlled properly, and if the person becomes out of control because of this. Now, and I'm sure in some cases this does happen. I'm not saying that everybody that has some kind of strong mental illness is going to go out and commit heinous acts, but you're going to have some isolated cases where this can happen. And I think other cases we look at, and I say that some people are also get mixed up with the wrong people, the wrong contemporaries. Take, for example, somebody getting involved, say, in a gang, for instance, and let's say they're in this gang and they're robbing the people and they're doing all these negative acts, corrupt acts toward others, and then one day this gang member says, okay, I want out, I don't want to be in this anymore. He or she is trying to extricate his or herself from the gang-related situation. And what if one of the gang members say, well, you know what, if you try to leave this gang, you're going to face some dire consequences. Then the person's backed against the wall. The key is, one thing is to not get involved in a situation where it's going to be hard for you to get out of. Somebody can leave a gang, and they have to do it. Obviously, it can take a lot of courage and fortitude, but you still, I can understand in some situations where it can become difficult. A lot of times when somebody becomes involved in something like that, it's not impossible to get out. All the person really has to do is say, I'm going, but the person will, in a lot of instances, will face repercussions because of that, and the person would have to be able to deal with that, and if that time would come. Now, I saw something online I thought was interesting, and they were saying that this could be a contributing factor toward evil behavior, and it was something about and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, an oxytocin release. It's some chemical release, I believe. And if they say that they did someone did some study, and they said 95% of people had this release, and it was a positive release due to some kind of from a good social signal or something. And then they said, like, well, maybe 5% didn't have this, and they said that could be contributed toward people that have lack of compassion or sympathy, and it can lead to sometimes to negative behavior. And so it also had stated that it can be equated somehow with characteristics that can be of somebody that can be psychopathic. So, but those situations are not. I don't really know if they're very common or not, and that was just one blog I saw online. I think what the key is right here, people. We all have decisions to make. Nobody really forces us to make any. I know some of you have seen my astrology videos when I say the stars may impel but do not compel. And really, I think the same thing applies to this in human nature. You either can choose the right way or you choose the wrong way. If you make a decision to get involved with the wrong contemporaries or peers, it's your own decision. Generally, there's not going to be anything forceful that's going to push you into that except yourself. If you make a decision to say, okay, I'm going to rob this place, I don't have much money, this is the only way out, then that's your decision, and you always pay ramifications for your decisions one way or the other. We know crime doesn't pay. Most people will get caught eventually, and it's just important for people out there to just understand and recognize that we all have a choice in life. Some people have it more difficult than others. I understand that some people are born into oppression and poverty. They don't have it easy. people can get desperate sometimes. They feel, oh, this is the only way out. This is the only way I know how to do something. But the reality is you just have to try to search for other avenues and other ways. Resorting to evil acts is certainly not the right way. Some people think it's either that way or the highway, when the reality is that couldn't be further from the truth. You just have to you use your heart to do the right thing, and it's about having the right moral compass and trying to do things the best you can in a scrupulous manner and do what is right. I think most people do have a conscience. They know inwardly, they know what's right and what's wrong. People will often try to justify it, their iniquitous acts, and say, well, it's because of such and such I did this. Oh, gee, you know what? I'll do this. This will help this. I'll go take this off a car. It'll help facilitate the economy or something. And it really, to me, that's really an extreme way to rationalize negative behavior. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube segment for the subject, my take on evil. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.